Hey everyone, today we're going to do a little tune-up on your English. We're going to tackle a few small, common mistakes that, honestly, make a huge difference in how natural you sound. So let's get right into it. You know how it is when you're learning a language, right? It's so easy to get worried about every tiny little error. But what if I told you that fixing just a handful of them could give you this massive confidence boost? Well, in this explainer, that's exactly what we're going to do. First up, let's talk about grammar traps. Yeah, these are those foundational rules that seem designed to catch you off guard. But trust me, they're way easier to fix than you might think. Okay, take a look at this sentence. I went shopping and I spent many money. Something about that just doesn't sound quite right, does it? Can you put your finger on what's wrong? And there it is. The fix is to swap out many for a lot of. So you get, I spent a lot of money. It's such a simple change, but it makes all the difference in sounding natural. So, why is that the rule? It all boils down to a really simple idea. Countable versus uncountable things. We use many for stuff you can actually count. You know, 1 friend, 2 friends, 3 books. But money? You can't say 1 money, 2 monies. It's a concept, so it's uncountable. And for things like that, you use a lot of. Simple. All right, you ready for another one? I hear this all the time. Water is more cheaper than beer. Again, you totally get the meaning, but there's a classic little grammar mistake hiding in there. The fix is just to drop the word more. That's it. Water is simply cheaper than beer. Using both more and the ER at the end is doing the same job twice. It's like wearing a hat on top of another hat. You just don't need both. This points to a really handy rule for comparisons. For short adjectives like cheap, you just add to the end. For longer ones like expensive, you pop more in front of it. And the golden rule here? Never ever use both at the same time. Okay, now for a mistake that even native speakers make sometimes, so you're in good company. Me and my friends watched a scary movie. It sounds really casual, right? But grammatically, it's a little bit of a no-go when you're the subject of the sentence, the one doing the action. The correct way to say this is, my friends and I watched a scary movie. It's not only more polite to mention the other person first, but I is the correct pronoun. And there is a fantastic little trick to remember this every single time. It's the cover-up trick. All you have to do is mentally cover up my friends and just read the sentence. Would you say, me watched a movie? No way, that sounds strange. You'd say, I watched a movie. And boom, just like that, you know I is the correct word. This trick is a lifesaver, seriously. All right, moving on from pure grammar, let's get into our second part. Tricky word choices. These are those words that are super easy to mix up, but they mean completely different things. Imagine someone telling you this. You understand what they mean, of course, but the word funny feels just a little bit out of place, right? It's not grammatically wrong, but it's probably not what the speaker was trying to say. The better word here is fun. I met many people at the event. It was fun. This tiny one-letter change completely shifts the meaning from something that made you laugh to something you actually enjoyed. So here's the clear difference. Funny is for something that makes you laugh out loud. A joke is funny, a comedian is funny. Fun is for an experience that's enjoyable or interesting. A party is fun, a vacation is fun. This next one can lead to some pretty amusing mental pictures. I want a trip to France this summer. I can pretty much guarantee this is not what the speaker actually means. The problem here is using trip as a verb, as the action. While you can take a trip, that's a noun, the verb you're looking for is to travel. So I want to travel to France. That makes a whole lot more sense. And here's why that's so important. The verb to travel means to go on a journey. The verb to trip, well, that means you've hit your foot on something and you're falling over. So unless you're planning on stumbling all the way to Paris, you'll definitely want to stick with travel. Okay, for our final section, let's look at a few phrases that aren't exactly grammar mistakes, but they can instantly mark you as a non-native speaker. This is all about learning to sound more natural. Now, this sentence is perfectly fine if you're a child, but for an adult, saying you played with your friends can have a very, very different and often inappropriate meaning. It's a really important cultural one to get right. So, what should you say instead? You've got tons of great natural options. You could say you hung out with your friends, you spent time with them, or you went out with them. All of these are perfect for adults and help you avoid any awkward misunderstandings. Here's another great example. Asking, "What's your hobby?" isn't technically wrong, but it can sound a bit formal, maybe like you're reading from a textbook. To sound more natural and conversational, try asking something like, "What do you do for fun?" or "What do you do in your free time?" It's just friendlier and much more common. All right, we have covered quite a bit. So let's wrap this up with your key takeaways. It really just boils down to three things. First, master those core grammar rules, like the ones for countables and comparisons. Second, pay close attention to those tricky word choices, like fun versus funny. And third, start learning the common, natural phrasing that native speakers actually use every day. Remember, all these small changes add up to really big improvements. Mastering these little details is going to make your English sound so much smoother and more natural. So, the only question left is, which of these simple fixes are you going to start using today?